covering the stories that impact your life, your town, your state, and your future. This is the Means Report with your host, Brad Means.
Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the Means Report. We appreciate you taking time out of your day to join us as Election Day gets ever closer. Can you believe it? At one time, November 6th seemed like it was so far away, but here it is now, just a matter of days before we all go to the polls and decide the future of this nation. And today, we're going to focus on the future of the 12th Congressional District in Georgia. We're going to meet Francys Johnson. Some people in the newsroom said, "Who's your guest today?" I said, "Francys Johnson." They said, "You mean that sign I saw? I think he's running for Congress. I don't know what district." You're going to know who Francys Johnson is at the conclusion of the Means Report, I assure you. His name is out there, and his hopes are high for a victory on November 6th. What about the Democratic platform? What does he want to push if elected to Congress? And what is hashtag People First? Answers to all of these questions on the Means Report today with Francys Johnson. And Mr. Johnson, thank you for joining us today. Coming up from Statesboro, Georgia, home of the great Georgia Southern University, and thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Glad to be here. Glad to be with your viewers as well. There is a big game in Statesboro today, and we're looking forward to getting back down on the road to watch it.
Yeah, a lot of people are excited about that. We record the Means Report on a Thursday, so when you watch it, we'll know the outcome. Hopefully the Eagles will be victorious. Why are you running? Rick Allen is the incumbent. He wants another term. You don't think he deserves one. You look at the economy. You look at the stock market. Things seem to be going just fine.
For some people, but not for the vast majority of the folks who call the 12th Congressional District home. 12th Congressional District is made up of 19 counties, which include a portion of Columbia County, all of Richmond County, and lots of very rural small counties that stretch all the way over to Dublin and down to Douglas and through Effingham County near Savannah, Georgia. And throughout that district, in 12 of those counties, they've lost jobs over the last 4 years. More than 25% of the district is in poverty. We're number 45th in terms of workforce readiness as a state, and this region of the state is lagging behind even the state's totals. We're 50th in infant mortality. We can do better.
Are you under the impression that you're being ignored in Washington?
Well, not that I'm being ignored, but people are being ignored.
That's people right. In the district.
That's right. Corporate interest prevails in Washington, D.C., and for the love of money, if it makes money, it's right. And that's wrong. It's wrong for the people of Augusta and the people of Statesboro, Swainsboro, and Waynesboro who need a congressman to fight for them for the things that we value here.
A lot of times when I drive through the small towns of the 12th District, I will see that a factory has closed, and that can be devastating. Is that what you're seeing when you're looking at these job shortages and these job losses, is that the huge employer leaves town?
Yes, when my opponent brags about 7 million jobs, he's talking about jobs not in the 12th District. He's talking about aggregate jobs in other places. And sure, the economy is improving in some places, but it hadn't hit rural America because we hadn't focused on an investment in rural America. Millen, Swainsboro, Statesboro, Waynesboro, all of those places are hurting because we haven't put the real infrastructure in place to make sure that they have the foundations and the fundamentals to grow their economy.
So how does that work? Is it just a matter of getting money for roads, bridges, for industrial sites, and then these big companies might pick you? Because I'm with you. I think, life would be so much better if all of our small towns could have more thriving industry, because it kills them if they don't. Is it all infrastructure?
No, it's not all infrastructure, but it starts with infrastructure. It starts with making sure we recommit to rural America like we did after the Great Depression, where we come in with real programs for infrastructure, but it continues with reimagining education, not just K through 12 education, but it starts before that with universal pre-K and after secondary with debt-free technical and higher education. It continues with doing something about health care. It's one-fifth of our economy. And right now, my opponent's plan, the president's plan, is to let it collapse. 38% of the people in this district get their health care from the Children's Health Insurance Program, Medicare, and Medicaid. We can't afford to let my opponent go back to Congress. He plans to cut $2 trillion from Medicare and Medicaid, and Social Security is on the chopping block as well.
Talking about the president, President Trump and Congress passed tax reform during his first 2 years in office. It's led to, in many cases, bigger paychecks for people. It's led to
$1.50 is the average in a take-home pay for folks. So millionaires and billionaires got a big refund, and average working Americans got $1.50. Paul Ryan said you may be able to save up that $1.50 to afford the cost of a Costco membership.
Would you kill those reforms if you got elected?
No, we would enact real reforms that pass meaningful tax relief to small businesses and hardworking middle-income earners in America. That's the kind of tax relief the American people want. They don't want a fraud pushed on them to allow billionaires and millionaires to be able to take a second deduction on a yacht. They want real reform that means that they have more of their own money to spend in their own communities. That's how you grow our economy.
You know, we hear so much in Augusta and even Aiken, Columbia County for sure, about cyber and how it's changing this area and how it's really putting us on the map. But then I hear you talking about the woes of small towns in District 12. And I wonder, are we just living in a bubble up here and we're not aware of the troubles of other folks?
Of course not. Augusta is the economic engine of the 12th Congressional District. But make no mistake about it, with all that is going on in cyber, your viewers should know that their congressman voted against a $348 million appropriation that would have supported the cyber command here. It was directly going to support and secure this midterm election against interference from Russia and other places that want to come in and have a say in our election. Who votes against $348 million, a large portion of which would have come right here to Augusta? That's what your congressman did. I think if you want to change that, you should elect someone else.
What about farmers? I know that you come from a farming background and it's important to you. What are they telling you that they need right now and going forward?
That's right. Before anybody called me pastor or lawyer or professor, they called me farm boy, and I'm grateful for those roots in Sylvania, Georgia. What they're saying to me, my Vidalia onion farmers, pecan farmers, especially farmers like blueberries, they're saying that the tariffs are a massive tax that are hurting their businesses. And the president's proposed $12 billion welfare check simply doesn't cut it. It won't even help to cover our soybean farmers, who are the largest exporters of soybeans to China. Brazil is right there to take up those markets that we've taken the last 25 years to develop. They're also saying that it is a shame, a crying shame, that for the first time in the modern era, there's not a farm bill. Our congressman is on the Agriculture Committee. It's on the conference committee to reconcile the Senate and the House versions of those bills and fail to get it done. I don't think we should re-elect failure.
Rick Allen, when he was here, said that he's working hard as a member of the Agriculture Committee and as a proponent of giving farmers what they need to come up with subsidies, to come up with ways to supplement their income so that in the face of these tariffs, they don't go out of business. He said he's trying.
He could stand up to his president and say this is an unnecessary tariff war that we don't need, and it's hurting our farmers. That's what we expect from our member in the House of Representatives, to not be beholden to the president, to not tote their party line, but to represent and put people first. That's what that means. And he's not doing that. As a matter of fact, this congressman has not passed a single piece of legislation, not a single one, in 4 years in the House of Representatives. It's time to put someone in who can get the job done.
But if not tariffs, and we'll get off tariffs in a second here, but how do we keep other nations from taking advantage of us? You know, what do we do to protect our interests and make sure that there's a balance when trading with other nations, if not tariffs?
Oh boy, folks who talk about the trade imbalance fail to appreciate that trade imbalance has fueled our economy for the last 25 years. We export certainly much more than we import, because what we're exporting are high-end goods like aircraft and high technology pieces, and what they're importing to us is pales in comparison to that. So the so-called trade imbalance is very misleading, and they know it. This is an attempt to start a crisis so that Donald Trump can have a win. And the only people who are going to gain are people who've always gained, those at the 1%, those at the very top, and that seems to be who our congressman is working for.
How about military strength? Where do you stand on our nation's military? President Trump promising to make them stronger than ever, mostly through more funding. You like that?
He's promising to make our military contractors stronger than ever, richer than ever. But to the hardworking men and women of the military, very little of that will ever go down to them. It won't trickle down to them. if you elect me to Congress, I'll focus on a couple of things. First, improving the quality of the experience for our men and women in the service, as well as keeping the promises we made to them once they exit the military. We need a 21st century GI Bill. The VA in our area is woefully underfunded, and the quality is not where it needs to be. The Dublin VA, for example, has the lowest rating of all the VA hospitals in the network. It's unacceptable, and we don't need more promises. The congressman has had 4 years to do his job and hadn't done it.
Rick Allen told you at the debate that we attended Tuesday night in Atlanta that he has seen the Dublin VA recently get a big boost and that things are on the upswing for them down there.
Well, you know, I looked for that rating
You don't
boost.
believe him, do you?
I don't believe him, and it's hard to believe someone who looks directly at the camera and lies to seniors and says, I'm going to protect Medicare. That's the ad he's running across the district right now, when he's already signed off, his party has, and his president, on a 2019 proposed budget that cuts $579 billion from Medicare and $1.5 trillion from Medicaid. $2 trillion. That would leave that program crippled. Social Security is on the chopping block as well. And these are sacred promises. These aren't entitlements. These are promises that we have to keep as a country.
We're talking to Francys Johnson, your candidate on the Democratic side in District 12 in Georgia. When we come back, more from the candidate, what his hopes and dreams are for the state of Georgia, how it can get better as Election Day approaches on the Means Report.